At the end of the last episode, we said we'd take a nice close look. Well, let's take a nice close look. I'll reposition everything and, well, we won't put the macro lens on yet, but I'm going to take this little piece of foam here, we'll turn it upside down on this foam, and we'll look at it from the bottom. Now, carefully propping it upside down, because the prop is holding part of it up, and I don't want to accidentally break it off. It does appear that it's some sort of light blue, with a tint of green in it, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe it's just my eyes. But there's something that I am noticing here, and that is that when you look at it from the bottom, you can see that the float struts from the bottom look the light blue, and yet when you flip it over and look at them the other way, let's just see if I can carefully just turn everything over here. Notice that the struts, get it here straight. Okay, the float struts are the green on the top. So that must have taken a little bit of doing, because they're very, very delicate. It appears that even the tiny little cross braces that go in between the struts, they are green from the top and light blue from the bottom. Okay, let's slip on the macro lens and have a look at some of the detail. Now here's some of the little details. I noticed this right away before we even took it out of the tin yesterday. Notice on the port side, it's supposed to be a little red light, just like on a real aircraft. And on the starboard side is a green light. These are little touches that my planes will not have. Plus the decals. Now let's move over a little bit and take a look at the decal. Now, to give you an idea of the size, I'm just going to put my finger underneath the wing. We'll spin it around, look at the other one. And we'll take a look at the one on the side. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but where the decal goes over the very fine detailing on the side of the plastic, the decal goes in and out where it's supposed to. It looks like it was almost, spray painted on there. Now, here's another detail that mine won't have, and that is that Tony's put the microcrystal clear in the canopy, and to make it look like glass, obviously. So I'm going to just try and turn it here. I'll watch in the monitor to make sure I'm keeping it in your field of view. At least I'll do the best I can here. That must have been really difficult to do that. I'm not even going to attempt it. Now, as far as I know, the only other details that this is going to have that mine don't have, and probably won't have, is the decals on the bottom of the wing. I'll turn it around. We'll take a look at the other one. Now, I just want to interrupt here. I said the only other detail. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of detail on these planes that mine don't have. For instance, things like he's gone to the trouble to paint the barrels of the machine guns black. And also there's some easy line on the cross bracing, extra cross bracing that doesn't come in the kit. And you notice again how the decal follows the fine details of the wing. Okay, ever so gently now. Now I know why the lid was upside down. For a minute there I thought maybe Tony didn't know which way it went. Just kidding. All right. Now, we'll put that in a nice safe place with the others, and we'll probably be looking at it again. Oh, I'm guessing at the rate things are going, maybe 6 weeks. I'm just guessing. Now let's take a look at this stuff. I already know what it's like, but it's possible that somebody doesn't, so we'll take just a quick look here. Now really, to be doing this justice, I should almost be slipping on the super macro, because this line, like this is the end of it right here, it is approximately 10/1000ths of an inch in diameter. It's very fine. But what is unique about it is it's actually elastic, and it will stretch out a ratio of 5:1. In other words, this 100-foot roll could stretch out to 500 feet, theoretically. Of course, I won't be stretching it very much. When I use it, I just plan on stretching it just very, very slightly, just so that it won't over time sag. At least that's the plan. I haven't really tested it. I've only used it once. What was it, a couple of months ago on one crane? Those of you who watched that episode, you will know the uniqueness of it. Yeah, it's kind of like fishing line in a way, only it's rubber, and it's extremely fine, and it will make excellent rigging for a ship, as far as I'm concerned. Now that's not what most people use it for. I think most people use it are model railroad people that use it as line for old-time towns where they have telephone lines, towns back in the 40s and 50s when they have that type of a diorama. Anyway, it reminds me a little bit of something that I used to use many years ago when I was into model airplanes. Only it's it's nowhere near the diameter of what I used. I used to use 3/8 inch surgical tubing, and I have about 100-foot length of this stuff, and on one end of it I'd attach 500 feet of 20-pound test fishing line. Then I'd attach my glider to the other end of the fishing line, stretch everything out, and I'd get maybe, I'm guessing 400 or 500 feet of altitude, and I could stay in the air for 6-7 minutes, longer if the the updrafts were right. Anyway, I used to like to do gliding a lot better than powered flight. Powered flight, well, it was fun, but it was noisy and greasy. Anyway, let's get back to the Bismarck. Okay, back to our railing. What you're looking at right here is the inside of the railing. This is the top rail, this is the bottom rail. So that means that this piece here has to go on like this. Only, of course, it has to be shortened, unless I could line these up perfectly, but of course I can't. Actually, that would be ideal as far as strength goes, but it would look, as I mentioned before, a little bit on the clunky side, wouldn't it? If I could get that, I'd have to raise this rail here up so that it thinking out loud again. Unless I was to flip the whole thing over. I got to get my wax paper down too. Okay, we've set up differently here. And I think we're probably going to want to shorten this. Maybe not quite halfway up, but probably to about here. Doesn't need to be quite so long. Now I've just realized here I've got this the wrong way up. Should be the other way. Okay, right now this is the outside of the railing. In other words, this was the side that's going to be facing us when we're looking at the ship. Now, just let me get my caliper here. Now, of course, it's going to take a lot of tweaking, and I'm going to stick the macro lens on. Now, I was just thinking here that maybe before we put the macro lens on, it might be a good idea to just tape this down so it's not going to be moving around on me. Okay, that should be good. Now, for those of you who are very, you might say, astute when it comes to detail, you're going to notice that the little piece of tape here is closer to the end than it was. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Ron has changed things here. Well, I did. Okay, I'm looking straight down on this right now. And the idea is to get the rails off in this piece perfectly in line underneath the rails on this piece. And it is very, very close. Now, when I take my bent pin here and press down, it might pop out of place. This is always easy to do in your mind. Okay, I think we got it. Now I'm going to try and get some CA thin to weld those together. And it does appear to me like we have it about the right distance out here, at least according to the caliper. Okay, this is CA thin, and I'm just going to put it on the bottom rail here. There. Now I'm pretty sure it's going to wick its way in. That seemed to work pretty good. I was thinking it might be going to run itself all over the place on the waxed paper, but it didn't. Okay, let's try the next rail up. Trying to be very careful not to bump my apparatus here. Okay, I do believe that worked. Now, the pin is kind of setting on the third one up. Let's go right to the top one. I think I can get in there very carefully. Okay, let's just leave that and see what happens now. About an hour has passed here. Bull in a china shop. Okay, now let's carefully hold this down at as shallow angle as I can. Well, I sort of did it. Now what do I do? Just sort of slice our way underneath. There we go. Okay. Now, when I use my tweezers to get the tape off like this, usually I'll end up with a bit of tape gum stuck on the tweezer, so I have to remember to clean it off with solvent afterwards. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll end up with tape gum, and you pick up something really tiny, and it stays stuck to the tweezer. Anyway, let's see if we can turn this up now on its edge and have a look and see how straight it is. I don't want to accidentally break it off and have to start all over again. Okay. Now, hoping that I'm getting that in line for you so that you can see it. It looks good from my perspective. I am seeing a little bit of, let's turn it over so it's the other side up. I am seeing a little bit of CA glue glinting here. Now this is going to be the back side. This is going to be the side that's against the superstructure, so we're not going to really see that. But this other side here, we will. Well, let's put it on the deck and see how bad it looks. Now I just remembered something. In order for it to go on the deck properly, that fair lead is going to be right here. So we got to take these bottom two rails off. Okay, we're back with the tape, but not with the waxed paper. Now, I was just about ready to nip these off, and then I realized that we did not adhere these two together. We did this one, then we did this one, and then we did the top one. And it does appear to me that everything's still stuck, I think. I'm wondering if maybe before I nip these off, we should flip this over and just reinforce everything here. It might look a little bit globbed with the glue, but it's better that than having everything ping apart. Does it look like this one here has come apart when I go like this? It almost does, but I'm looking at it different from you. Okay, we're back on the waxed paper here, and everything is kind of a little bit separated. In other words, these rails are not touching the waxed paper. The idea is I'm going to try and get the CA to just sort of wick its way in between the two separate rails here, and at least that's the plan. This is my second try on this. First try I forgot to push record. I'm just reinforcing this one. I've already done the other three. Remember, it's upside down right now, so this was actually the first one we had done before. Then this was the second, and then we skipped this one because the pin point was too close to it. Then we did this last one here. But this one here, it's hard for me to see. It almost looks like there's nothing on there. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Okay, we'll let that cure. Then we'll put it on the deck. Okay, clearly I'm not thinking clearly, because we got to take off these bottom two rails. Oh, wait a minute, that's the top. My goodness. Okay, we want these bottom two right here. I wonder if I should use my other one. Yeah, this feels better. Okay, we'll do the bottom one first. And then we'll do the next one. This thing's working a lot better since we sharpened it. Takes hardly any pressure at all. Okay, now these ones here, we're going to be doing two at the same time. Oh, I don't want to press it. I don't want it to slide. Oh, that was close. I'm going to have to come at a slightly different angle here. I'm hoping you can still see it okay. Alright, now this is going to be really easily bent here, so I'm going to have to watch myself when I get it, try to place it underneath everything. Maybe I should just go ahead and do it and then set up the camera. Okay, it's in. It actually went better than I thought it would. Now, this is supposed to go down in here. If I can just hold that in place, and if we just do this one section, try and get it all the way in as far as it will go. It looks pretty good to me. Go just a little bit more that way. There we go. Alright, now let's carefully just glue this one little section here. Then we'll worry about the other post and we'll straighten the top rail later. Okay, you just knew that I was going to slip the macro lens on, didn't you? See if I can move it back just a little bit there without moving the bottom. It's not too straight. That's better. I moved it. Oh. Try and get this back now. Okay, let's let that cure, and I think it'll be not too bad. It looks okay from my perspective anyway. Okay, let's try and get the rest of the railing back up on the deck now. Now we should be able to move very carefully here. Something like that. Now the post next to the fair lead is not in the right place. I have to be so careful not to bump anything here. Okay, if we could get it to glue like that. It won't stay there. Maybe I'm going to have to move just a little bit to the left here. Put a little bit more pressure on that. There, now it stays there. Okay, both those posts are perfect. Doesn't look like any came off. No, it did that time, that's for sure. Now, can I get this one without bumping it? Yes, I did. Okay, about 5 minutes has passed now. I think it's safe to take the pressure off here. Move this out of the way. And it should be safe to try and straighten these two rails here. That's some better. I think that they don't want to bend into place because it's sort of extra heavy duty right here. Maybe we'll just leave well enough alone. I know looking at it really close like this, you can see every little, ripple in the rail that shouldn't be there. But, well, maybe I'll come back at it later when I go over the ship overall. Alright, I'm just going to carry on here. We're going to have to carry on in the next episode because we're up to about 25 minutes here already. And once again, we didn't get very far. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.